Question 948. To what extent would you consider religion mind control?
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
And now I'll walk away for 2 minutes.
As everyone goes away. Santi?
I wouldn't say mind control. Like it's more like brainwashing, which is different because like you can break your programming. Like mind control is kind of like like a puppet. But brainwashing is like it's more brainwashing to me. Like no mind, like I wouldn't consider mind control.
I agree with Santi.
Interesting. See, Starkey says all of it. Never Again says 100%. Nerdy says what extents are available. Ike says it depends on what methods are employed. Sammy says to every and all extent. There is no part of it that is not mind control.
I guess it's like mind supervision, like the whole like you can't look out like another man's wife and all that stuff, like that like dot police stuff, right? But they can't really control that.
Yeah, they do control that. They teach you. No. See, where the mind control comes in on that is they teach you that you should feel bad about that, and that sits in there, especially if you come through the Catholic type upbringing. That guilt is virtually impossible to overcome. Even though you can know something is fine, you know it was something that was put there by your religion, you still cannot get over that response. And I can't think of anything more mind control than that. You are doing it to yourself because they have taught you to do that.
I mean, technically speaking, they do class brainwashing as mind control. It's a form of mind control. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where I fall on this question, in all honesty.
I completely see Dave's point and like how Jeff put it. Like it's like it's mind control through brainwashing. Like I was thinking mind control like Dr. Xavier. Like,
yeah.
There you go. Sammy says, absolutely, Dave. Took me over 20 years after leaving my religion to break the guilt. What the hell have I missed in the chat? Spooky says to Ike, no, just a bunch of differently coloured sized balls, but I know what you mean. It does look like that. What is that in response to?
I don't know, but I want to know now.
No, I know!
Is it your bouncing balls, Dave? I don't know.
I don't know. Laurie Vallow proves it to me. She may be an extreme case, but she's nuts. Have to think she was okay before she went full-on religious zombie nutter. Aunt Jer says, all of it. My super religious Trumpy brother had the audacity to accuse me of being brainwashed by Seattle when I came out to them.
I'm wondering how you get brainwashed by Seattle.
Well, according to you, by looking at the Seattle Seahawks uniforms.
Good point.
Sorry, you kind of walked into that one.
Shiny.
Oh, they're talking about Spooky's avatar. So, like Chris says, have you guys ever had theists on? Yes, we have had theists on. I'd like more theists on. It'd be more fun. No, everyone that asks me tends to get to come on. So if they want to come on, come on. Ike says integration, indoctrination is real, right or left wing. Yes, but I would say that indoctrination is not necessarily harmful unless you are taught you can't question it. Ilya says all religion has a form of mind control. Completely agree. The problem is, okay. No, I'm not going to go into it.
No, go for it. I want to hear it.
No, Illinois people. The problem is, it's one of those things, right? We argue against indoctrination. Right? And the problem is, indoctrination is a good thing. It's what you are indoctrinating is the problem.
I don't think so. I wasn't indoctrinated into anything. And
You were indoctrinated into lots of things.
Yeah,
But most of them are useful. Most of them are normal and useful, and you later on, you learned there was a meaning behind them. But you weren't taught that meaning, you were indoctrinated. You were told that this is the way it was because it was. Indoctrination is a useful tool because you don't need to necessarily know how things work to use them.
Okay.
Like
education?
Yes, to some degree, right? Now, there is a line as to where indoctrination is and is not, as to whether or not it's just education and just indoctrination. But the point is that it really only becomes harmful when you are taught to not question it. If you're indoctrinated into something, that's fine. If you're taught you can question it.
Indoctrination is just a tool.
Yes.
It can work a couple of ways with that, though, Dave. I mean, obviously you go through, basic sort of education where you're, generally taught a lot of facts or whatever. And sometimes you can break yourself into that and then maybe end up going down a whole nother rabbit hole of indoctrinate. Because how many times do you hear like conspiracy theorists or whatever?
Very much so. That's the reason.
Or whatever. So you're indoctrinated by what they taught you, kind of thing.
Right. This is the thing I got into a row with. Yeah. Right. I got into a row with someone the other day that was a white supremacist. All right. Keep the races separate. Right.
Lovely people. Yeah.
Right, and the point being is the argument is that there was. I said within the conversation, I should say there is propaganda on both sides, both from the white supremacist side in terms of keeping the races separate and all this shit, absolute bullshit, right, and from the perspective of the multicultural side. Okay, and that my argument is the multicultural propaganda in a lot of respects is worse because it doesn't need it, and having the propaganda there is one of those things that the white supremacists use to push people. You can show that that's false or it's not necessarily true, and it makes you question. Right? And I think the same thing happens with lots of conspiracies, where you've got something that's kind of glossed over or it's odd. But I think you're right. I think the conspiracy happens a lot if you don't teach people how to. You need to teach people that it's not real. If you're teaching them that, I can't talk, I can't think. Right, yeah, you got to teach people. I think you got to teach kids specifically, but adults as well, that if you are teaching them something that they need to know, but you're not teaching them the reason, you need to teach them that there is a reason that they can discover themselves and how to discover it. And I don't think that would overcomplicate it too much. I could be wrong. Right. I've got to go way back now. Ilya says, all religion is a form of mind control. Did that already. Nerdy says, is going to school a form of mind control? Yes, unfortunately. But we don't have a better way of educating right now, and even when we do, I think it's going to be still controlled by someone, which is what brought up by Sammy, who gets to decide what should be indoctrinated, though. Never Again says, most education is indoctrination. The question is whether you may question it.
Well, society decides what's going to be indoctrinated.
Yes, but that's the problem. It's like at the moment they are literally saying that anything that does not agree with the conservative view in America that's being taught in school is indoctrination to left-wing philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
So you have science that is being taught, and they are saying that is basically left-wing propaganda.
But again, they're using the word indoctrination as a weapon, not a tool.
Yes.
Indoctrination is a tool. You can use a hammer to pound a nail.
Yeah, but the point is they're not indoctrinating them. The point is they're not indoctrinating them at all at this point.
Well, exactly. That's true.
They're
using the word indoctrination
to instill fear
as a weapon. Weapon.
There you go. Never again. We're saying the same thing. Pinky swear, Dave. Antjer says on Twitter, Chris Shelton has a post about how the university system is indoctrinating people with left-wing ideals. Oh, do you know what? I'm coming out with the things before I read them here. Ike says the social contract is just distributed indoctrination. Spooky says, Dave is usually wrong when he uses his stern voice. Nerdy told me. And Sammy says, I suppose the indoctrination is consensus. I think what you teach tends to be.
He's trying to indoctrinate us, is what he's doing.
He's trying. The Rage says, religious indoctrination is different than most. Being indoctrinated into the existence of gravity is harmless, for instance. Even a mild indoctrination with religion can turn harmful later in life. I agree. I let my daughter get away. I let the school get away with teaching too much low-level stuff about the religion, even though it wasn't hard on it. And later on in her life, when she gets stressed, she falls back on it. And it's stuff I thought was harmless at the time. Never Again says, you need to teach people critical thinking. Totally agree. 100%.
That's why we do critical questions.
You think this teaches critical thinking? No, I'm not convinced.
I think it's going to that whole thing of teaching people how to think rather than what to think is probably the way forward.
Yeah, but you've got to teach people what to think first.
Yeah,
that's the problem. You have to have a base level. You cannot teach a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old how to think.
No.
Right? You've got to teach them things first. You've got to teach them facts that they can deal with at that point in their life.
Yeah.
Right, but you're right. You have to go through that, and that's the point. Right. Everyone's saying, what does Paul think?
I said at the beginning, yes, I do think it's indoctrination, religion. Yeah. That was the question, wasn't it?
It was. Everyone thinks. Everyone agrees. Right, we should move on. If I could talk for ages on this.
Moving on.
Moving on.
I've just got my granddaughter just walked in on me.
That's okay.
My granddaughter just walked in on me.
Hi, Granddad.
Hello.
No, she's run off now.
Oh, okay. Goodbye, Granddad.
Never Again says, and it took a world lockdown to convince Dave to do critical questions too. Oh, I have to get back to the question. Chris says, indoctrination, teach a person group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. There is so much to learn in the world, you can't do your own research on everything. Again, this is one of those things I get into arguments with atheists and skeptics about too often, where they expect you to go and fact check things. You can't. There has to be a level of trust. You have to trust someone because you cannot do every level of research. Oh, I hate you. Every level of research. You think you're funny, don't you?
No, I'm trying to subtly get the message out about what you're doing. Is what I'm doing here.
Dave is investigating you. I think. I'm assuming that was meant to say indoctrinating.
That is what it says. Yes.
Super chat from Jeff. Thank you. The Rage. Yeah, I tell fuckers to go spend the time like I did in researching themselves. No, there's not. It's not that you can't research anything, and I think if you are questioned on something, you should go and research it. But you live a life. You have to live a life. You have a limited time. You cannot know everything. You have to accept some pieces of information on trust. What you need to be taught is not only how to research yourself if you need to, also who you should fucking trust. How you can tell whether or not someone is of a reasonable caliber to be providing you. And it's not even then that you can trust someone about certain topics. That you can trust a qualified physicist about physics. But their biology, their chemistry, their ability to comment on politics, that's all up in doubt.
That's why I get upset with everyone, listening to what celebrities say about politics, because I think, who cares what Oprah thinks about politics?
I think it's worse than that. See, I think it's worse than that.
Opinion any less valid than
No. Her opinion is worse. Shut up. No, I'm talking. Right, her opinion is less valid. She is disconnected from the majority of the way people live their lives. Celebrities' opinion on politics is worth less than a random person on the street.
Then why does the right wing keep putting them in office?
Because they're popular. Because people have associated that they like them in this way, then therefore must be good. The Rage says...
I think it's a sad thing. We're going to see more... I always feel that we're going to see more and more of these celebrity types in politics. It's actually...
And oddly enough, I think we have a better system to stop it.
Really?
Unfortunately. Yes.
Really?
I think we have a better system. I don't think we have a perfect system.
Why did
Yes, Boris is a politician.
Why did he become well known?
Because he got popular. Yes, because of TV. I agree.
He appeared on bloody things that have.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. Right, but I think that the fact that you have to go through the party vetting process in a way that you don't have to in the States means that they tend to stick with people in the party that the party likes. I say it's better. I don't say it's perfect. Chris says, simmer down, Dave, you're bouncing off the screen. Rage says, for instance, tonight I will be talking about things that are common knowledge about candy zones. You have to look for it. I will provide the info. Don't believe me. Go and do the damn work. But most people don't care. That's the problem.
Nice one, Jenny.
Well, then, what did I miss then? I was looking at the thing. The Rage says, CC makes me want a bouncy ball every time I catch the show. What?
Super chat, Dave.
Oh. Oh!
You must read it, sir.
Yeah. Ty, there is a reason that in the original language. There is a reason why he called Scummiar. Scummer!
Yeah, you have to break it up because the, morality of the cheat things.
From Jenny, thank you. Andrea says, recently had a conversation with my brother that leads me to believe he gets his information about race from candy zones. The problem is everyone is allowed to be lazy about certain things. It's having these strong opinions when you don't know. I mean, again, I got into another argument on Twitter. Me, never get into arguments on Twitter. About the fact that people don't fact check before they retweet. And the problem is I don't fact check. I cannot fact check everything I retweet. Okay, now here's the problem. I will not retweet something that I think is not right. The problem is that not every news story is accurate to the point of for example, when you have a story that says a police officer did this, and I know of plenty of stories where police officers have done this. So I might retweet this other story that says a police officer has done the same thing. Now, I haven't gone and fact-checked that other story. Right? And this is massive confirmation bias on my part. And it's terrible. But the point is, if I didn't, I'd never retweet anything. And the problem is, that would mean the only people that were retweeting were the people that were retweeting nothing that they fact-check. At all. And it's just one-sided then. And this is the problem. We are losing the information war because they are putting out so much absolute shit.
Yeah, we're absolutely bombarded with it. I don't do a lot on Twitter, but on Facebook, it absolutely drives me mad. You'll see something that somebody's posted, or some sort of meme on Facebook that they've posted, accusing somebody of something or whatever, and it literally takes 3 minutes to Google it, research it, and find out whether it's true. And I absolutely drive people mad, my friends on Facebook, with it, because they'll post something on Facebook. I will look at it and think, no, that doesn't seem right. I'll spend 3 minutes fact-checking it, get the evidence to say that it's not true, and then I'll post that under their post to say, look, it takes 3 minutes to check it out. But I think what it is, if somebody sees a story that they find interesting, and it fits with their narrative, they are interested whether it's true or not. They just want to retweet it out and get more information out there. It drives me insane.
My sister.
I agree with that entirely.
My sister deletes my fact checks. I fact check the things she posts. I put the comment underneath saying whether it's true and a link to where it is, and she deletes them. She leaves her post up and deletes my comments.
Yeah.
Right, let me read the comments, then we need to move on. I'm getting into trouble. Okay, they're now talking about candy zones.
We don't disrespect you anymore.
Why not? Tweet never had the desire. Never again. Twitter can be fun, but you've got to be able to disconnect from it. Otherwise, you'll blow your brains out. Never again says, Dave, maybe you should block your sister. Oh, I'm so tempted. Right, next question.
It is allowed, you know.
I'd get shot. Right.
But yeah, it's everyone's sort of right on that though. But.
Yeah. Right. The problem is most people aren't honest about it, and I think the people within our community tend to be.
I've called out a lot. I mean, obviously, I see it tons of times from like right wingers on Facebook, but I've had to call people out on my own side for this shit a number of times on the left as well.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, but I just say, especially when it's like memes and shit like that that are not true. When you don't need to make shit up to make some of these people look fucking stupid. That's what really annoys me.
Yeah, I somewhat disagree. I think the problem you've got is something punchy can sometimes be better, even if it's not quite true.
Yeah, there's not quite true, and then there's out and out false.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, the famous one that went round a few years ago was the one about Trump, wasn't it? Saying that if I was ever going to run for office, I'd do it as a Republican because because their voters are so bloody stupid, and that went viral. He never said that.
No.
Yeah, but it's a good one. It's a good meme.
It's a good one. Yeah, but it's a good one. But it backfired because it was a blatant fucking lie that caught on. That did not have a good effect at all.
If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.